Lauren, hey, congratulations on your new film, Cinderella's Revenge.
Thanks, Gig. Thanks a lot.
You gotta love these films. These are the guilty pleasure films that we watch late at night. But let's hear it from you first. Is what initially drew you to this project?
So I've always loved Cinderella. I loved Lily James's take of Cinderella. I thought that was one of my favorite films. But also from a young age, I watched Cinderella growing up, so I've loved her. And then I played Cinderella as a entertainer just around like local areas and doing events and stuff like that. I'd done that for quite a few years. And then when I heard about this film in particular, I was like, yes, I would love to be in Cinderella. I would love to bring that princess to life. And I'm like, I'm so similar to Cinderella. Like, I love animals. I'm quite sweet. I feel like I'm always kind of really kind to people and happy and in my own little bubble bubbling around. But then when I realized there was a take on it, like a twist, I was like, oh, this is different. And I like the it was kind of like I like the twist on it because not only am I like quite princessy as a person, I feel like my boyfriend's always like, you're like a Disney princess because I feed the foxes all the time in the field every morning. I'm like throwing eggs out for them. But I also was first in the UK for kickboxing. So I've got that side of me too, where I'm like, I can do both. So when I heard about this film, I was like, oh, this is good because you got the Cinderella, but I also love Harley Quinn, and this is kind of like she twists not like Harley Quinn, but she's kind of similar in that in the end of the story. So yeah, I was excited to hear about it.
I was gonna say this is not your Disney version of Cinderella. I want to say this is almost like the grim fairy tale version of where it's slightly supposed to scare the kids in its own way.
Yeah, it's definitely not your average Cinderella. It's not really any, I don't know if there's been any Cinderellas like this one actually. This is totally different. Which is where the Harley Quinn kind of comes into it. So it's not for kids. I definitely wouldn't recommend kids watching it. And because of that at the start I was like, but then I was like, oh no, I love it because I read the script and it was very similar to, I mean, we've got like the cutting off the toe, which was in the first original story of Cinderella as well, which I thought was really cool that they kept that in there. Yeah.
So tell us how you played this version of the Cinderella, because in its own reality, it's almost like you're playing two different characters. I mean, was there like an on-off switch that you actually have to, turn on and turn off? Because I can't how can you say trying to wrap my head around how you got into this character here.
Yeah, I mean, the like I said, the princessy side was so easy for me because I was like, I just be yourself. So that come quite naturally. I've always played princesses and I've always loved princesses. It was kind of hard, as you know, with films. We you can film like the first scene on the same day as you film one of the last scenes, and you can film them like next to each other. So you have to always know where you are in your script and what your character has been through to when you're going into that scene. And for me, I had a photo on my phone of it was like a split screen, and one screen was Lily James as Cinderella, and the other one was Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. And I just had to keep reminding myself, like, oh, this time I'm Lily James, or this time I'm Margot Robbie, and what I wanted to get from each character. But you also, it was hard because there was a bit in the middle of the film where she was kind of like both. Like she had the evil side when she had the mask on, but she also had the regret and like she didn't want to be evil. And so there was that moment of changing for her. So I had to always kind of work out where I was in the film, especially because it was filmed quite quickly. We had quite a tight schedule. So yeah, it was a accomplishment, I think, to always remember where I was.
So how much does the mask help in this case as a prop for you?
I feel like it was good because that's where she got her power from. And a lot of the time I was trying to make everything make sense. I was trying to make it make sense why she would kill, why she was so sweet. So why would she do this now? And why would she go this far? And the mask gave me that reason, that to like lean back on, and I was like, oh, it's good for the mask. So it always gave me a reason in my head why it made sense. So I thought it was really good actually, as a prop. But there was also times where I was like, I wish I didn't have the mask on, because I just want everyone to see how angry I am, and like how much Cinderella's getting into it. But at the end you kind of get that. So that was good. It was good to have both.
I want to say that this is something that shows your acting range, because it's almost like playing a character like, Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, where you have two different personalities. So when you got consumed with this character, did you see yourself as a protagonist, antagonist, or like a heroine or villain? I mean, what do you see yourself when you're playing something like this?
I found myself as like it was definitely like the journey. It was a journey, because at the start I was like definitely the hero. You want to love Cinderella, like I wanted people to love her, and then throughout the end I wanted people to be rooting for her. I wanted people to be like, when you're in the horror, you're watching a horror movie, you're like, pick up the gun, pick up the gun. Why are you not picking up the gun? I wanted her to pick up that gun and like go to town with it, and I feel like I did get that from her as well. I wanted people to root for her, and I wanted her to be the hero. I know in some of it maybe you went a bit too far. Cinderella probably went a bit too far, but like I said, I wanted there to always be a reason why she was doing that. And you definitely get it from the other actors, how they made her feel, and like everything they put her through. Yeah, I feel like you want to root for her. You want her to be the hero.
Now, you mentioned before that you had a little bit of preparation, because there are some quite action scenes in this film. Can you talk about how much action that you were actually involved? Because we could easily say it was the stunt woman because she was wearing a mask, but you know the answer.
Oh yeah, no, there was no stunt women. No, no. Somebody else just said to me, "It's like you're an indie film's like dream, because I can do all of my own stunts." I wouldn't want to have a stunt woman. I want to do my own stunts. I think I find it fun. Like I said, I was a kickboxer, so when we was coordinating some of the stunts and the routines, I was like, "Can I add this in, or can I add that in?" And the director at one point was like, "Lauren, can you take it back a level here, because somebody's going to get hurt." But nobody was actually going to get hurt, but I was really enjoying it. So if they'd said to me, you have to have a stunt woman stand in for you, I'd be like, no. So yeah, it was all me. I did everything and I loved it. I enjoyed every part of it as well, especially towards the end when she had like a long scene fighting the stepmother, and it was like all of the abuse that she's gone through coming into that. And yeah, that was my favorite. I really threw myself into it. And at the end, where Cinderella finally kills her stepmother, that was like the end scene for filming. So everybody at that point, after she killed her, was like, that's a wrap. And everyone was clapping and celebrating. And that was probably one of my favorite moments in the whole movie.
Wow, lesson learned. Never mess with you, because you actually do your own stunts.
Yeah.
Now, as an indie project like something like this, what was it like, wearing the costumes and being on the production set?
I loved it. It really helped me into the role. As soon as I had turned up, we turned up at this beautiful castle just outside of London. It was like so historic and so gorgeous. You'll see it in the film. And I was like, wow, like this is so insane. I've never been to anywhere like this. So I turn up and it just felt like the magic had already started. And then yeah, each location we went to was just perfect for the scenes and the costumes. You have like, I love the fact that you had the rags, you had the blood, you had the gore, you had the dirt, but then she also had like the beautiful ball gown and the Louboutin like glass slippers. I think that was awesome. I liked having both. I feel like I got to explore so much with Cinderella, so many different kind of characters. She went from being dirty and like messy hair to like sitting in hair and makeup for 2 hours getting your makeup done. So yeah, I enjoyed it, and I think it helped so much with filming.
What about this genre of horror that what makes you love this genre so much? Because, on your filmography, you have done quite a few in this arena.
Yeah, all over horror. I love horror. I do. I've watched it from a young age. My brothers, I grew up with two brothers and my dad, and they all loved horror. So we was like watching it every night. I grew up on The Grudge, thinking The Grudge lived under my bed. I was so scared. So we've always watched horror, and like if I was going to go to the cinema, I'd always want to go and watch a horror film. And then I started doing horror, and then I don't know how it happened, but it was just like one after the other. I think one year I done like 11 horror films in a year, and I was like, oh, so much horror. But now I just love it. I think it's just become so normal for me. I would love to also do some more action or some more like rom-coms, and definitely more action. And I love sci-fi, so any kind of sci-fi as well. But for now, I'm happy with horror. It just keeps coming, so I'm taking it as it comes.
Most definitely. So I guess that circles into what's coming up next for you. More horror.
So well, I just recently filmed a tsunami film. That was the most recent thing that I've done. Finished filming that now, and I'm pulling a blank because I can't think if I've got something coming up or not. And I feel like it's probably a no because I can't think of it. I've got a lot of auditions that I'm doing at the moment, so hopefully soon there will be something coming up. Nothing as of yet though. I want to actually start making my own films, if that's short films or feature films. Probably start with short films, but I would love to start doing rom-com. That's a genre that I'm really interested in.
Most excellent. Well, Lauren, hey, thank you very much for carrying this conversation about Cinderella's Revenge. It is a very fun movie, and I have to admit, you are not afraid to get down and dirty.
Thanks. Yeah, you're right. You got that right.